The following Let's Play has been rated for mature audiences only. Any attempts to break the game are for entertainment value only. However, if any typos happen to be found... Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. When I last left off... Boy, changing it up how I was saying it really screwed me over there. Anyway, things are a little different than what you might remember. I decided to do a bit of experimenting and went back to the beginning of the game and went through all those questions that I got asked and answered them differently. And as it turns out, you actually do have to answer all of them first off. I'll get more on that later. But also, it seems to me that all those questions you answer are a bit of a personality quiz of sorts, and they determine who your character grows up to be. But it turns out that they might affect even more than that, because when I went back to the orphanage to get adopted, I wound up getting adopted by a completely different family. And I look different. I'm wearing red instead of blue. As a reminder, RPG Maker 3 has a limit of 100 people in the entire game. So right off the bat, 3 of those people are being dedicated to Zoe, who may or may not have different stats and stuff. I'm not entirely sure. Didn't really make note of anything. So yeah, I'm in a different family now. I have no intention of staying in this family because I'm not particularly thrilled with it. Plus, what you guys saw before, I answered more honestly, and so I'd rather keep that honesty. Let's see here, if I try to walk here, the game will take a moment to load. That's the longest stall I've seen from RPG Maker 3 in, well, ever. So, it's kind of like the beginning, or kind of like when my father called me down to see him in the last episode. Now, something that Obright told me was, it's just a reminder of what you're supposed to do, and that talking to your parents will actually give you a key so you can get out of the house, as well as get into the house. So, will it allow me to leave? No. That's really interesting. I was not aware that you could get locked from the inside. That could open up a variety of different gameplay possibilities. Anyway, just out of curiosity, let's find out what our parents are like. First off, let me show you my father in this reality. You need to get a job, and not one of those artist or musician jobs. I won't have any daughter of mine dragging the good name of Valkyr through the gutter like some bohemian Jezebel. Ugh, just talk to your mother. Yeah, I do not like my father. Apparently, getting adopted, it turns out... Should I spoil it? Because some of you might actually find out for yourself. But then again, most of you probably won't. But basically, he didn't want a daughter, he wanted a son. The only reason he adopted a daughter was because he lost a bet. And then he yelled at me because I was wearing orphan's clothes. I don't like him. And as for mother... Zoe, sweetie, your father and I were just talking, and we both feel that it's unfair of us to keep you locked up in the house all the time. A young lady needs new experience in order to grow. This town may be small, but there are still plenty of opportunities for a refined young woman to pursue. You can even get a job. You can use the money you make however you want. Now, doesn't that sound like fun? Your father would like it known that he wants to see you in a job like shopkeeper or cook. But you don't want anything mundane and boring like that, now do you? You just be whatever you want to be, my little love. Artist, musician, nude model, anything! Incidentally, RPG Maker 3 does not have any nude models in it. Ha! That would fix your father's little red wagon. And extra line of text for some reason. I suppose so. It seems that Zoe is kind of more... not as outgoing. I know we only got to know her as a teenager for a moment, but it seems that, yes, the whole being adopted into a different family thing did alter her personality some. There now, sweetie. I know it seems overwhelming right now, but think of the freedom you'll have. You can come and go as you please. Oh yes, that reminds me. Here is a spare key to the house. I know I can trust you with it. So, there you go. If you choose different questions, or choose different answers to the questions you get asked, you apparently get adopted into a different family. Don't ask me how that works. Also, another thing that is very noticeable. First off, this is a very big difference. Right off the bat, in the beginning of the game, all that stuff you're answering has a big effect on who you get adopted as, apparently. But another big effect I found out was, you remember my little friend who was planning on stealing from that lady? Apparently, if you tell her that stealing is wrong, she won't give you the key to her future hideout. I'm not entirely sure what that affects yet, because we haven't visited her hideout yet, except in the past, in which nothing we could find aside from a treasure chest we couldn't open. So I'm kind of curious what that might affect. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to keep this result because I didn't answer any of the questions honestly, except one. So we're going to just return to the title screen and load back my file. Well, in the next episode we'll do that. I think I'd just dedicate this episode to the what if in life. What if we chose all those questions differently? And also, since we got plenty of time left, I figure I'm going to go ahead and give a bit of critique of the first section of the game. And to keep you all occupied while I give that critique, here's the credits for RPG Maker 3. See how many development teams you can spot. Let's see here. Now, as I said, you kind of have to talk to everybody in town, or everybody who asks questions. That basically amounts to everybody but 2 or 3 people, so yeah, everybody. You basically have to talk to everybody in that first area in order to get the game to progress. There is a slight issue with that. It's not an issue I have. Obviously, I enjoyed myself and I didn't think of that stuff until after I had already finished recording. But not everybody is going to have the patience to go around talking to everybody. You see, whenever I was going around, along with just exploring because I wanted to explore, I was also looking for the first objective, and I was unaware that my first objective actually was talk to everybody. And anybody else who plays this game for the first time is going to be thinking the same thing. They're going to quite possibly care less about talking to everybody and will just want to find their first big objective. And there's no guarantee that they would stick it through to talk to everybody. They might give up looking for that first objective, completely unaware they were actually in that first objective. So, I have a couple offbeat suggestions. Offbeat because I'm aware that this game is pretty much taking up all the memory that RPG Maker 3 lets you have for a game. I mean, you're at 99% filled, so you only have like 0.1% left, and who knows what 0% left, 0.1% actually is. That might not even be enough for a line of studio for all I know. Did I just say a line of studio? That's what I get for looking at the screen while I'm talking. A line of dialogue. But here's a couple suggestions anyway. Maybe somebody else who's making a game can keep this sort of thing in mind. But first off, you know how after I talked to my friend who was planning to steal from the lady, I was afraid to tell the lady about it? As it turned out, that wasn't even an option, but it might have been interesting if it were an option to tell on my friend. Could have affected something pretty interesting, and player going into it would have been like, I wonder what this would affect, and they would keep on playing to find out. Another thing was that warrior at the start of the at the entrance to town, near the entrance to town. it would have been interesting had we been given the option to fight him. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have been able to win, but it would have been like showing our fighting spirit or something like that. And it would have been giving the player a taste of something to do other than talk to people. Those credits were shorter than I remember. Speaking of wasted memory, since you can't actually get out of your new home until you talk to your parents, that kind of makes the event that's sitting in front of the door, having them call you, kind of pointless, because it's not like you can really do anything else. You'll obviously just look around. Since you can't exit the house, you obviously look around and talk to whoever's in the house to find out what to do. So you kind of didn't really need to have them call you if you got near the door. That memory could have definitely gone to something else, like one of my suggestions. Another thing that would have been helpful, at least for me, was whenever I entered that archaeology place where I found the mask and showed it to that old man, it would have been nice had, when I entered that place, Zoe would have been like, "Ooh, I wonder what all this stuff is," and that would have encouraged me to look around and check everything out. Granted, it is for the most part my own dang fault, because I actually did look around and check stuff. It just so happened that I didn't check the one corner. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to explain for this episode. So now you guys see the potential in this game and how your various decisions could affect some actually pretty big things, potentially. Next time, we're going to go back to the life that I actually am supposed to have. I'll see you then.